What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao, and thanks for joining us here for the news. Taiwan has started its largest annual military drills, Kuang. It simulates defending against a Chinese invasion. Jaime Ocon explains what we'll see during this year's drills.
The year is 2027, and as China ramps up its threats to take Taiwan by force, many believe an attack is imminent. This is the scenario behind this year's Kuang exercises, Taiwan's largest annual military drills, simulating how the country would defend against an all-out attack from China. While the drills have been carried out since the 1980s, this year's iteration is the longest ever, with the duration extended from 5 days to 10.
我的观察是，今年的汉光41号演习最重要的是象征台湾这个军事改革的顺利启动。因为这种 defense reform 最重要其实是一个组织文化。
The drills begin with simulating Chinese gray zone tactics, operations that put pressure on Taiwan but stop short of direct conflict. This includes Chinese Coast Guard ships and military aircraft coming close to the country's borders, as well as disinformation campaigns. These are all meant to put pressure on Taiwan and sow internal division. Taiwan's responding by mobilizing a record 22,000 reservists to practice handling the variety of threats Taiwan might face from China's military or the PLA.
I think that might be China's overall grand strategy, where tear Taiwan apart from the inside and let PLA come in to finish the job. But tearing Taiwan apart from the inside in and by itself is not going to cause Taiwan to surrender to China. The PLA still has to come in.
That's why the second stage of Kuang simulates what would happen if those tactics suddenly escalate and turn into an all-out war, with Taiwan conducting coastal defense drills. While Taiwan has practiced how to stop an invasion for decades, many exercises, even apart from Kuang, have been criticized for being too scripted, as many soldiers already know how the drills will play out beforehand.
I hear from people when I criticize these types of exercises of cramming everybody shoulder to shoulder for a nice photo op, and they say that's not how we really do it. But another truism in warfare is you practice like you play, you fight like you train. And so if all you've ever been doing, or most of what you've been doing, is training soldiers to just lay there in a static position with a well-known target on a beach so you get a good picture, that's instinctively what they're going to do.
The last component of Kuang focuses on an attack further inland, as well as civilian operations. On one of the last days of the drill, the capital of Taipei will undergo a citywide air raid drill, with civilians taking cover and escorted into designated safe zones.
But I would say that if we are in full alert, if people are ready, then we don't need to do all these drills. I think this is our current mission, to know or to introduce to our general public that modern warfare is different from what we have known before.
As Taiwan gets ready for 10 days of war games, the military says that the ultimate goal is not a show of force, but more about seeing what Taiwan is lacking to deter possible conflict in the Taiwan Strait. Andy Xue and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
For more on this year's Kuang, TaiwanPlus reporter Isabel Wang spoke to Alexander Huang, chair at the Council of Strategic and Wargaming Studies.
So my first question is that this year's Kuang exercise, there are a lot of differences, right? And also there are several new weapons coming out in the exercise as well. So what's your take on the differences of this year's exercise?
In the military modernization, we have always said, the state of the military exercises has always been a high-low mix, or a combination of existing system and newly incoming systems. This year, we will witness a extended Kuang joint military exercise, extended from 5 days, 4 nights to 10 days, 9 nights. I believe that this is encouraged by our allies, and also is based on our self-awareness about the potential military conflict across the Taiwan Strait. I have been a long advocate for a real-time more realistic military drills to familiarize our population, that to get used to a possible future difficulties, because Taiwan has been away from a real war for 67 years. So we need to do our own preparation to get people used to a possible future military conflict.
So with the urban resilience training this time, it's more like a bottom-up strategies, right? Do you think the Taiwanese people are, like, how has it been like? Are they used to this already? Or like if the possible invasion happened?
My major takeaway is that our military commanders and decision makers probably needs more practice and education, because they are still more or less stay with a scenario that was 10, 15 years ago, and has not learned too much from the war in Ukraine or Gaza. And so that's why we hosted this tabletop exercise and inviting renowned generals and admirals. And especially we opened to the press. So this is the first time that the Taiwan population can watch a highly sensitive military operational war games, from their own eyes. This is purely a public education exercise, and I think we have achieved that goal.
That was security analyst Alexander Kuang, and tune in tomorrow for our conversation with Tony Hu, a former Pentagon official, and for more coverage on this year's Hangguang exercise. Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council has blasted China's decision to blacklist 8 Taiwanese entities, saying Beijing is weaponizing commerce. These entities are key players in Taiwan's aerospace, shipbuilding, and defense sectors. China's Commerce Ministry has halted all exports to them, with Beijing's Taiwan Affairs Office accusing them of promoting secessionism. Experts here in Taiwan say the move will not have much impact, as these entities have little connection to China. The Defense Ministry here has also weighed in, saying China's move actually aligns with Taiwan's goal of phasing out reliance on the so-called red supply chain. U.S. President Donald Trump says there will be no extensions past August 1st for countries targeted by his so-called reciprocal tariffs. This comes after Trump announced new tariffs on 14 countries on Monday. Izzy Wells has more.
It's been a busy few days at the White House. U.S. President Donald Trump has doubled down on an August 1st deadline for new tariffs announced on Monday. 14 countries, including South Korea and Japan, will be slapped with new levies if they don't reach a deal with the U.S. before then.
The big money will start coming in on August 1st. I think it was made clear today by the letters that were sent out yesterday and today.
Trump also announced his next target for imported metals, copper, a key component in electric vehicles and military equipment, which he says will be hit with a 50% tariff.
We did steel, as you know, they're 50%. We did aluminum, 50%. Lumber just came out.
Why don't you announce copper?
And we did cars. And now, today we're doing copper.
But it's not just the copper industry that will be bracing itself. Trump hinted a tariff as high as 200% on imported pharmaceuticals could be coming soon, as well as semiconductors, a big concern for Taiwan. It's still unclear when exact details will come, but Trump says he'll be making several trade-related announcements throughout Wednesday, affecting at least 7 countries. And with world leaders bracing for a hit, the Trump administration has high hopes for how much it'll be raking in.
We will have taken in about $100 billion in tariff income thus far this year, and that's with the tariffs, the major tariffs not having started till the second quarter. So we could expect that could be well over $300 billion by the end of the year.
But there are fears these new announcements could reignite trade tensions between the US and China. Beijing has warned countries about striking deals with the US that cut out China, warning the Trump administration about restoring tariffs on its goods next month. Trump has given them until August 12 to reach a deal and remains positive.
I do want to say that I think we have had a really good relationship with China lately, and we're getting along with them very well. They've been very fair on our trade deal.
With high-stakes tariffs looming and global markets on edge, the Trump administration is doubling down on its America First trade policy. But as deadlines loom, US-China tensions look set to reignite. Kamashu and Izzy Wells for TaiwanPlus.
Firefighters are demanding reforms after a fatal accident during a rescue mission on Tuesday. But despite a heated protest outside the cabinet offices, officials don't look ready to re-examine the system. John Van Trieste has more.
A trembling firefighter struggles to staple in addition to this banner listing fallen comrades and the places they died. The latest name is Wu Anshuo, age 37. Date of death, Tuesday. The place, a river near Taipei, where his boat flipped while he was trying to rescue a drowning person. In just a few hours, a second firefighter who was with him will also die, their name to be added another time. Here outside the cabinet building, firefighters want not just answers, but change. Ignoring the steady rainfall, they remember Wu. And they say that after years of protesting issues like workplace safety and training, it's time for officials to listen. Their first demand, firefighters should get the same protections most workers enjoy. As public servants, they're not covered by the Occupational Safety and Health Act. And they say this makes an already risky job more dangerous.
它包含的不只是我们就在现场安全管理，我们整个作业环境的认知、装备器材的应用统一化，以及我们人员是否有好好的接受现代化、科学化、符合现代时代潮流的训练制度。
Demand 2, firefighters' training and skills should determine where they're sent. They say Wu Anshuo was highly qualified, and he still died on duty. How much more dangerous would his mission have been for someone without his water rescue experience?
这里面有些人像恩硕一样是高级救护员，他在紧急救护的案件中可以给予患者非常高品质的处置，而有些是擅长火灾，再加上城市高空、水域、山难，甚至是车祸等等不同救援的专业。可是这些各领域的人命救援专家，常常因为混编，不是常常是。 所有人都因为混编，而常常被放在错误的救援位置。
They say Wu himself spent much of his time campaigning for exactly these kinds of reforms, especially since 2023, when a factory explosion killed 4 firefighters. Besides giving their demands, they want the government to explain why their safety concerns remain unresolved 2 years on. A cabinet official, flanked by police, has this to say.
针对于昨日新店发生这样的一个不幸事件，我们感到非常的难过跟遗憾。
A glitchy mic cuts her off, but in any case, grief has now turned into anger, and she's soon being shouted down.
什么难过啦？难过有什么用？我们要改革哎！
Suddenly, there's shoving with the police. As the now broken microphone splutters away, there are shouts for Premier Zhou Rongtai, or someone with decision-making power, to come out. But it's a stalemate. And soon, as order returns, the rain-soaked firefighters are left to their thoughts and to comfort one another. Justin Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Follow us on social media to get updates from us in your feed. Finally, we've got a sneak peek at joint training by French and British paratroopers ahead of French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to the UK. I'm Eric Gao. Take care. We'll see you next time.